Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of What Matters with me, Erica Elita. So welcome to the show, and as I said, this is my first time doing it, and I will introduce myself at first. So my name is Erica Edwards. I am a recent Toronto transplant. I'm from Montreal, and this summer will make my second summer in Montreal. I have to say thank you to the TCN Network, Trish, Grant, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to have this platform to speak with everyone. And the name of my show is What Matters, and that is exactly what it's about. I want to know what matters to you. So my show is very audience-based. It's driven by you. It's your topics, your interests, your questions that I will be addressing and using it as a platform to also help with my own growth. So this first episode that I'll be doing, I have a guest with me, and I will be addressing a topic that matters to me, and that is the topic of men. One of the things I realized recently is how little I do know about them, and the dialogue between the two sexes is not what it should be. And through a series of interviews, and not just interviews but conversations, I'd like to find out what it is that's stopping us from communicating with each other as well as we do. So that will be the topic for my first show. Now, a little about me. As I said, my name is Erica Edwards. I'm from Montreal originally, and I now live in Toronto. I have to say, I do absolutely love it here. It's an amazing city, lots of opportunity, and an amazing community. And I already feel very much a part of the Toronto community. I've met a lot of people, I've been to a lot of events, and I have to say, I find it is a very welcoming place. I am a mom. I'm a mom of 3 children, well, 2 kids and an adult. My children are 28, 16, and 8. So that's another topic that I would like to address in the future is about parenting, the challenges that we face, the new obstacles, how much childhood has seemed to change in the years. So that's another topic that's near and dear to my heart. Now, what is it that I do? My 9 to 5 does center around the fact that I am from Montreal, so I have a job as a bilingual CSR, but what really matters to me is what I do after that time. And I do a lot of workshop facilitations. And how this all started was with my love of makeup and teaching. And it started with very simple courses and classes, teaching women about makeup, how to apply it. But what I realized is there were a lot of conversations that were happening around this event that were more important. So now I do workshops for women professionals, individuals, but a huge part of that is to connect with people and to have them connect with themselves. And I have found that with these workshops, with these individual sessions, people are opening up. I'm learning more about people and realizing that there's a lot of connection that needs to happen. So I've been blessed with this platform to be able to talk to people, connect people, and see what really matters, again, what matters to individuals. So I'm very, very happy to be here. Again, I thank Grant, I thank Trish for this opportunity and for the Toronto community. So today I will have, my guest today will be one of the first friends that I made when I came to Toronto. I'll be bringing him on after break. His name is Aaron Duncan. And what we will be covering, as I said, my first segment of Men 101. And today we will talk a little bit about I wouldn't say it's a new phenomenon, but it has been labeled. And it seems to be a situation of feminism versus toxic masculinity. Now, this is a phrase that we're hearing a lot recently, and I think that we need to go from just categorizing and labeling to understanding and communicating. So that's one of the topics I'll be touching on with Aaron today. And the other one would be a bit lighter, and that's the subject of dating and how disjointed it seems to be, how men and women are not always communicating and understanding what the other one is saying. So that will be the topic for today. I do know there's a call-in number. I don't see it on screen, but when it is available, I will put it up. You can also comment on the post. The hashtag is WhatMattersTCN. That's the hashtag, so feel free to comment, ask questions. We're up live, so hopefully I'll be able to get to your questions during this time and definitely interact with the audience. So I will see you soon.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Welcome back. And with me now is my first guest ever, Mr. Aaron Duncan. Thank you for coming, Aaron.
It's my pleasure to be here and support you in any way. I'm excited.
I'm
for
excited.
you especially.
Thank you. So Aaron is actually one of the very first friends that I made in Toronto. I connected with him on social media, and it's synergy. Energy is everything. And I'm very, very thankful that we became friends because he's welcomed me into the community in a way that I was not expecting and involving me in different events and so forth. And one of my favorite ones was when we went to go see
The Black Panther.
to see the Black Panther in full
was a lot of
gear
fun.
with his mom. So Aaron is a 12th generation Canadian and Toronto native who is also closely tied to his Trinidadian and Jamaican roots. An avid fitness professional, sales specialist, and digital media professional, that's how we met, Aaron has led sales for major corporations such as Rogers, Yellow Pages, before starting his sibling business, SWAT Digital Group, where he focuses on creating videos, and SDG Photography, where he creates stunning portraits, very true, and stunning portraits and marketing videos. You can view his work on sdgphotography.ca or contact him on Facebook by searching for SWAT Digital Group. And very interestingly, and one of the reasons that I thought he'd be the perfect guest, is Aaron is the eldest brother of 7 sisters and 1 brother. So Aaron has 7 sisters, which I think is tremendous.
Stressful, but a blessing nonetheless.
A blessing nonetheless.
Right.
So I feel that you have an understanding of women that most men do not.
You know, I say that often, that I have an understanding of women, and I always say that I know women because I grew up having 7 sisters, a grandmother, a cat, and it always kept me in tune with women. But I really have to attribute any knowledge or understanding of women that I have to my mother. She was very, very insistent on making sure that not only did I understand who and how powerful women are, but that I knew myself as a man separated from that, and that how I should treat women was based upon not the expectations I had of other men when it came to my sisters, of whom I was very protective of, and how one day when I am blessed with a daughter, how I'd want her to be treated. And so that was really, really key. Now, I was never perfect, I still am not, but I really do have to attribute it to my mother's upbringing and rearing, which was loving and forceful,
Right.
and fear-warranting at times, but all deservingly so, because it's really shaped who I am when it comes to how I view women, especially black women, how much I respect them, and how much love and that I have in my heart for them as a whole.
As a whole.
Right.
Do you feel that growing up with that much feminine energy had an impact on you in any negative ways?
No, not in any negative ways whatsoever. I think it provided a perspective that allowed me to see things outside of who I am as a man or as an adolescent young boy growing up. And it only blessed me because I knew how to interact with women. I knew how to communicate, and in times when necessary, be a leader or a confidant, a bodyguard, right? And somebody that could platonically make themselves available to, just to be there, to be able to be a sounding board, or a shoulder to lean on.
I
and
like
how that relationship is sacred and shouldn't be taken advantage of.
It's very interesting that you say that, because one of the things that made a big impression, a big impact on me when I first met you was the fact that you were so relatable to me. And even though you're very masculine in your presence, you never felt intimidating. Aaron's about a foot and change taller than me. We will not stand up. Never intimidating, never overbearing, but very relatable, which usually I don't find with men. And then you said another word which was interesting, was that platonic relation where you can communicate with women in a platonic way, and it is effective. And I'll give you a little antidote.
Anytone.
Aaron and I did a photo session in which I changed not only my clothes but my hair. So I had gone into a room. When I left Aaron, I was speaking to him and I had curly brown hair.
Right.
I left, I came back, I had long, straight black hair and continued to speak to him. He didn't flinch, he didn't blink. He acted like nothing changed.
Right.
And I said, Aaron, I changed my hair. He said, did you? And at first I was insulted. He said, please remember I have 7 sisters. And I was like, okay, you're excused, because I can only imagine with having that many women around who probably changed hairstyles and attitudes and outfits constantly. He's learned what to pay attention to. And what was very interesting is he was paying attention to what I was saying.
Right.
He was actually listening to me. And that's why he did not notice that I had a completely different hairdo.
Yeah, at the time I was planning the next shot in the sequence where we were going to take it. So when you came out, I didn't see it right away. But, we can't have the people believing that I was just, blind to it. I did match your hair to the outfit and give you feedback.
He did.
That did result in stunning images.
It did.
Although it's partially or mainly due to how beautiful you are. But yeah, no, like most of my sisters are on natural hair now.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a time when it wasn't the case. And in my family, there wasn't a lot of wigs, but there was always extensions, lying all about the place, like looking like sometimes live animals, catching you off guard. And so I've had my fair share of near scares, or hair being places that you didn't expect it to be, like just there, but or declogging shower drains. But it comes with the territory, and now most of my sisters are natural hair. Some still wear extensions, and I have a handful that are dreadlocks, and some are shaved. So
notice he keeps saying some are this, some are that, because there's so many.
Personalities change, and times change, and women change their hair when times around them change often, right? So you have to get used to that. It's fun.
And so now, compared to your counterparts, compared to your peers, your friends, do you find that you have, this obviously is your opinion, do you find that you have a better understanding of women?
No, I don't think myself as having a better understanding of women. I've never actually looked at it like better than you, better than another. What I feel is that I know just enough to survive. So I think that I know how to deal with the range of emotions women generally can go through, depending on what's going on in their lives. I know how to put out fires. Definitely know how to cause them. And but I know how to be a friend, and I know how to listen to the words when I'm not emotional in the situation. One thing I've tried to work on is if I'm in an emotional situation involving a woman, is quelling my emotions so that I can hear what's being said, because women are such great communicators. Like, you guys will say what's on your mind, you'll hint, and sometimes you don't communicate because you want the person to make sure that they're showing themselves as being available to you to really express what you're feeling. But it's really important as a man to stop talking sometimes and really just listen to what the woman's saying in order to discern really what's the root cause of the problem. Because as men, we're such fixers by nature that we just want to get to the root of it. But one of the things I struggled with for many years, and only got, I would say within the last 2-3 years, is not fixing things sometimes. And I had no clue that it would be better to not fix it, because we don't operate on that level. The mug is broken. Fix the mug. The mug works. The woman sometimes wants to say, the mug is broken. This is how I feel about a broken mug. And if you just jump in trying to stop and fix it, well, you're actually making it worse, because now you're not only breaking the mug, you're breaking the relationship. Sometimes you just need to sit back and say, the mug is broken.
Honey.
How did the mug break?
How do you
Are
feel
you okay
about the broken
because the mug
mug?
is broken? Would you like to still drink water from this mug?
Fellas, I hope you have a pen.
Let's
We'll be
talk
back
about this
after
mug.
this message.
The mug is a different color.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity in our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity in our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
And we're back. So for this segment, I want to talk a little bit about the new dating game. Or maybe it's old, and just because I haven't been in it for so long, I have no clue what the rules are. But what I have realized is that it's not that I don't know how to play the game, I just think it's dumb and I don't want to play. So recently, after being single for the last about 8 years, I have decided that, I need to give this a whirl. Because if you grocery shop when you're hungry, you pick up all kinds of junk, right?
Right.
You fill your stuff your cart with Insta stuff. You have all kinds of snacks,
Mr.
fattening
Noodles and
things,
Hungry Man.
Mr. Noodles, and then you get home and you realize you didn't get ketchup, you didn't get rice, and you had no butter. But if you grocery shop on a full stomach,
Right.
you compare labels. You may even go to another store because something's on special. You make better decisions. So I decided before I got too hungry, maybe I should go grocery shopping.
Hungry. Starts with an
Thirsty,
H, ends with a Y.
Hungry, whatever.
That's the word.
So I have, thrown myself back into the dating game because apparently I needed to state that I was in it because I am not approachable. That's number one. And Aaron
That's
is
false.
gonna.
We've already had that conversation.
We've already had this conversation.
Erica's very approachable. Don't let her fool you. She uses reverse psychology to lure you in. That's her game.
So I got on a dating app, and the first thing I noticed, there's this great little video on Facebook of, it's a little cartoon, and a woman and a man are sitting down. You probably have seen it, and they're on a date. And he leaves, he ghosts at one point, and he just keeps...
Oh, I didn't see that one. No, I thought you were talking about something else.
You see, now, if Erica was better prepared, I would have this video queued up and ready to go.
We don't have the copyright, though, so that's why.
True, too,
Yeah,
the copyright.
The copyright.
So anyways, it's basically this lady trying to talk to this man, and he's like, hey, how you doing? And she's like, oh, I'm good. How are you? And what you doing? I'm kind of sitting here talking to you. And then poof, he's gone. And then she's sitting there looking around going, okay, I guess that's done. And he shows back up. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what you doing?
What you doing?
Send me a pic.
Although I'm sitting in front of you. And this has been my extremely frustrating experience.
Okay.
Where I'm connecting, it's like, hello, hello. And I did ask to please don't just say hello, but you got to start somewhere.
Right.
And then after exchanging numbers, and so now it usually starts with text messaging because people are allergic to phone calls nowadays too, it seems. What I get is a series of hello, hi, what are you doing? Silence for about 6 hours and then good night. And then it starts again the next day. And I say, well, would you like to meet? And they say, yes, sure, you know, in the coming week, what are you doing? And for me, if you don't have a plan for something else for me to do, I'm not quite sure why you keep asking me what I'm doing. I'm not sure what this, I'm not good at small talk.
Okay.
That's the thing. I'm not good at small talk. I don't particularly care for it. I like big, deep conversations. And we can small talk if we could big talk. But I seem to not be able to get to that point. So it seems that dating has changed a lot. I know when we're younger, we're in school, high school, college,
Right.
you're out partying. That gives you the opportunity, you're meeting people in person. It's not a profile pic and what they wrote up about themselves that you're meeting the person.
Right.
And people seem to, they're not giving that interaction, that chemistry enough weight. Because there are a lot of men I know in real life that I would date, but if you showed me their picture, I probably wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, they wouldn't be appealing to me like on paper, but it's their personality and our interaction that has them so appealing to me. So I feel that, you know, by going about it virtually, we actually do lose out on a lot. And that's why I insist on meeting in a short period of time. One, I'm not interested in long distance because, well, I want somebody here. And two, I figure if we connect, we should meet and see if there's anything to go forward with. So I'm kind of frustrated. I won't say frustrated because I'm not hungry and that's why I'm shopping. But it's a little bit, yeah, it's frustrating because it's like, dude, do you want to meet? Let's see if this can go anywhere. So from my personal experience, what I'm experiencing now is that's what it is people want to continue these conversations virtually, but seem to never really want to connect in person unless it's really just to connect.
Well,
but I'm not on that app.
I find that it's give and take. There's no possible way in person for us to meet the amount of individuals we might be curious about dating in such a short period of time.
Okay.
But with that exposure, you're going to be meeting more people that aren't the right match for you. Whether it's the way they communicate or the amount of people you probably even just swipe left when you don't. I think swipe left when you don't like. So,
I'm not on that
yeah,
app.
so like if you were swiping left, it's basically you're saying no. But you would never even be in the situation to see that many people. So you're going to find more people that aren't on your wavelength.
Right.
Also,
Okay.
a lot of the individuals who are on these apps have grown up off of the MSN Messenger days.
Yeah.
And that's basically grown from a simple messaging app that was on a computer that then became BlackBerry Messenger was the next big thing. And then now you have tons of different messaging apps like Line, and WhatsApp is obviously at the top of the bill. Snapchat and all the instant messengers on Instagram and Facebook. That so many people have lost the art of communication.
Amen.
Especially body language and things like that. However, that being said, a lot of the gentlemen that you'll see on these apps, they're really just trying to see if they're interested. The most that we see is the profile description, which is not necessarily the case, because everybody shows the best foot forward, and pictures. And you don't necessarily know if you're really interested in this person. So you should really go in expecting some small chat, though I do like that you said you don't like it in your profile. But I would give any suggestion I would give to women that's online dating is to know what they want first, which I'm sure you do, and to actually present those wants and desires as soon as possible in a non-committing way. What I mean by non-committing is not asking them to make a commitment to be perfect, but saying, this is what I'm interested in, these are the things that I'm looking for, and presenting it to the gentleman to see if he can step up to it. Because if he's genuinely interested, he will. We're hunters. We'll go after what we want, right? So if you put those things forward. So, for example, if you wouldn't want to do restaurant, but you'd rather do the movies first, just as a first date, which I would never suggest. I would never suggest restaurant or movies for the first date.
No, quick drink.
Right. But that being said, if those were the things that you wanted, then say, this is the things that I'm interested in doing. And if he presents himself saying, okay, well, we can do it then, that's great. If he doesn't, get out right away. If he's only doing small chat, even though you've said it, he probably hasn't even read your profile. Get out right away. Right. And then you'll get less frustrated, perhaps, hopefully, by being less exposed to the things that annoy you.
Right.
But I know a lot of great success stories from people meeting online.
I know a lot of good success stories too, and that's why, I mean, especially now, because I'm no longer in school, I'm not really a club person, so, you know, and actually that touches on a conversation you and I had the other day, and it's actually, after that conversation, I had decided I'm getting out the game altogether.
Okay.
That's what
was that my fault?
Yes,
Are you
it was.
blaming me for that?
100% it
Sorry.
was his fault. And then after I analyzed it again, I was like, you know what, let me give it a whirl. And I think that it's very important to present yourself as you are. Now, that being said, people always start out on their best foot. You don't go to work, you know, looking horrible the first time.
Right.
You meet someone, whether it's platonic or whatever, you will always present your best self. So I don't think that's being fake, but you know, we don't show our ugly bits right away.
We're advertising.
We're advertising.
Chocolate bar
exactly.
companies don't tell you that you'll become obese if you eat them
If
in
you
a
keep
large
eating
amount.
this wonderful chocolate bar.
But
exactly.
if you're hungry, why wait?
So I think that it's really, as Aaron said, it's really important to be authentic in who you are and what you are. So, you know, even if you'll get more clicks or likes or swipes by saying, you know, hey, I really like to do X, and you don't do that, because then what
Right.
happens is the person is expecting you to do X.
All that.
And the conversation you and I had, because that was what I asked Aaron, I said, you know, I keep being told I'm intimidating. I'm very, very intimidating, and that's why people don't want to speak to me. And Aaron corrected that and actually made me feel better. And then he said, you know, if you're really looking for someone, there's some stuff that you should do. And one of the suggestions was, he had started to list things, and one of them was go to the gym. Now, don't get this wrong. It's not that I actually love the gym. I love the gym. The gym is a good place to be. But my argument with Aaron was this. If I don't really like the gym, if I go just to get a man, what happens when I revert back to my regular self? It's kind of like when people say, well, meet men in church. You could go to church and you can meet men. But if I don't like going to church and I go to church to meet a man, then we hook up and I'm like, okay, good. I'll see you when you get back. He'd be like, I thought you were going to go to
Maybe you should
church
keep
with me."
going and be thankful for meeting him there. Listen, let's be clear first of all, folks. I didn't tell her to go to the gym to meet a man because she didn't look good, because Erica's fine. And it wasn't because I think every guy that goes to a gym is an amazing match for you, because most of them are pigs, like most men in general. But my belief is that in all things listed that I gave her, there were all things that were focused on herself. And people are, men, good men and strong men, are attracted to women who are about bettering themselves and their loved ones, because they can see that benefiting them and their future family. And also, I believe that a healthy woman, who is a woman who is seeking after her spiritual, emotional, financial, and physical self. And so by going to the gym, you'd be really putting a lot of the energy that you have back into yourself, extending your life, extending the melanin that won't crack but does work better if taken care of, feeling yourself, right? Because everybody likes feeling sexy and looking good and being able to wear what they want. And that energy that will be just basically just coming out of you and just lighting up every room you step into will attract a man strong enough to handle you. And that's why I tell so many women not to lower their standards, to not have standards too high, yes, but not to lower the baseline standards they have, nor their image of self, because so many women who are in the situation that you are in saying, I seem unapproachable, I seem too strong. Well, you weren't made for a weak man. And there are less strong men than there are weak. And so fittingly, should there be less potential suitors for you than there are that aren't good matches. Because if you're here and you're trying to bring yourself here because there's more here, you're going to be unsatisfied with whoever you get. Now, you may meet somebody who isn't at the level that you deserve or want or think that you should have on the start. But are they aspiring there? Do they have a plan? Are they working towards that? Because if they are, then those same principles that drive them can be given to you in a way that will benefit you as their partner and vice versa, right? But the advice I gave you was really more about yourself, so that you could stop saying things like I am too, and I'm too approachable. But no, say I'm too intimidating to weak men. But you don't want a weak man. So why is that a concern?
And that is something that I had worked out. And this right here, this conversation we just had, is a perfect example of what happens when you do not listen. Because I did not let him finish at that point. I was like, okay, I'm out, never mind.
Right.
And now, in him completing that thought, no, I really did say, okay, bye. I agree with him 100%.
I know what was happening. Sometimes it's not easy to hear what we need to hear. I know that because I'm hard-headed. And sometimes I have to sit back and listen and be like, wow, okay. And go back and apologize and say, you know what, I thought about what you said, tell me more. But
exactly.
I know what was happening.
No, and you did really start this train of thought. And I found a great quote the other day, and it says, dear strong woman, you are not intimidating. They are intimidated, and there's a difference. So I really like that quote, slap my face on it, put it on social media, but I really do agree 100% with what Aaron said. It's about maintaining your standards, being true to yourself, and when you really love yourself, it shows, and you attract positive things. That insecurity, people can smell it. You know, that's how women end up in women and men end up in situations with predatory people, because they can sense those who need in that way. Definitely. So we're going to go to break, and when we come back, actually, I'm going to have Aaron tell me a little bit about his world in the dating world.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Okay, so we are back, and this time it's Aaron's turn to tell us what the world of dating is, and now he's going to try to just keep drinking. I see him. What his experience has been in the dating world as a young, intelligent, handsome black man in Toronto, this huge city. I had actually gotten a few statistics, but really they're just basically depressing. They just basically say we're all single. that's a summary of everything I got from StatsCan. It just says everybody's single and living by themselves. So how has it been? When I met you almost 2 years ago, you were in a relationship.
That's correct.
But you are not now. So, one, have you been dating? Have you been trying to date?
No.
They just wrap themselves around your
Stop.
ankles?
No.
What happens?
None of that.
Tell me.
The only person that wraps themselves around my ankles is my beautiful little niece. I love her so much. You know what? I've tried dating.
Okay.
I don't find it difficult to find myself in a situation with somebody who's willing to date me. Because I'm a funny guy. And no, it is.
Yes.
And just, women, avoid anybody who just makes you laugh. Just run from them because you have no defense against
None.
them,
If
right?
a guy can make you laugh, you can't not talk to him.
Run away.
Yeah, just go.
We know what we can
Just
do.
take
Yeah,
off.
yeah, run.
Take off.
Bye.
Leave. Don't
But you know, I'm not that guy. You know, I'm not that guy, that pretty guy. You know, the guy that just is there and everybody swoons immediately. I'm ruggedly handsome. I'm ruggedly handsome.
labels. I love
Okay.
it. Yes.
But I'm not the you know, the Morris Chestnut. No, I'm not the Idris Elba, right? I'm not the Will Smith and Ali. You know, I wish I was all of those guys. Really, I'd be an actor, I'd be a millionaire. But I'm not that guy. So I find that I can find somebody who's willing to date, but I wasn't emotionally available. My last relationship was north of 5 years, some downtime in between, but I was genuinely in love. I still love her, and I'm not the type of person that loves and ever stops loving. And so being emotionally available was a big thing for me that I just was not able to deliver. And so I'm not dating right now. You know what I mean? I'm really trying to become the person who I think I need to be a suitable partner on so many of the different levels that a black woman would need me to be.
I feel so sorry for you.
Keynote being black woman. But that being said, when I am ready, I think I'll be able to navigate my own emotions and self well. But dating, you know, it's fun and it's interesting. I've been on the apps, I've been on the Tinders, and I've been in the DM. I've called a few people different pet names in order to entice them to respond, and some have worked and some have failed. I find that my biggest pickup line is telling women, "Hi, I have no children," and then they just like, "You have no, it doesn't even matter or what anything else. You're fine." But no, I mean, dating's fun. It's just so different from being a guy than it is from a woman. And all my female friends who I've talked about, they basically tell me about the same frustrations, right? About men not being committed, about men wanting to have all the benefits of a relationship without the title. You know what I mean? Like, we've been going together 3 years, but whoa, I'm not your man
I'm not like
yet.
your man.
We're just talking.
Calm down. We're
Right?
just talking. For 3 years, I've been talking to you.
Right. So the advice that I give every woman, including the ones that I have talked to or beginning the dating rituals, is don't sleep with them or me, because it's different for us. And although men do catch feelings, women are more emotionally attached to their temples. You guys, that's where your energy comes from, inside. And you can't just let anybody into there. And that's a big problem, because everybody wants to win over. The guys are racing for that finish line, and 95% of them, majority of my friends are alphas. If you sleep with them right away, they immediately lose interest and respect. And so many women continue to make that mistake. And I find that's from seeking validation or seeking approval. You have to be comfortable in your own skin and knowing yourself and not giving the best parts of you up so that you can get to know a person.
Yeah.
And if a guy only wants that, he'll wait long and he'll wait short. So the moment you do, you're taking a risk. It is a gamble every single time, but just take time. Just slow down, right? Don't add more bags to the one that you are carrying or the ones you just got rid of. Because if the sex is good, you're screwed if he's not emotionally wanting to be there for you. If it's true. If it's terrible, you can walk away. If it's terrible, it's like, oh yeah, whatever, he's whatever.
Who? What's
Yeah, he
his
doesn't
name?
even count. We're not even going to count that as a body.
Block, delete.
But the reality is that if it's good, you're screwed.
Yeah.
So don't give it up. Just don't get to know the person.
Effort?
Force him to get to know you. Not well. Eventually, sure, but you better hold out. Hold out as much as possible. Don't do
As
it.
possible. So, with your friends, do you find, you say you know a lot of alpha males, which
Yes.
doesn't surprise me because
No.
you are one yourself. And with them, do you find that, because I know that a lot of people, when I was in Montreal and looking to come to Toronto, a lot of the women here were like, oh, Toronto men, they want families and they want, the homes and, they're marriage kind of guys, because the guys in Montreal are so not. Everybody in Montreal put a like, okay, or a heart, or a ha-ha, because it's true. But here, and I did find that there were a lot of couples when I got here, a lot of people who got married in their late 20s, their early 30s, whereas I know couples that, you know, a lot of couples who haven't. So do you find that, have you seen with your friends a lot of men switching in terms of, you know, because I'd say you're like in your early mid 30s, do you see a change in focus from let's get some to I need to find her?
You know, most of my friends are older.
Okay.
And that's pretty much because growing up I was so much bigger than everybody my age, and I played higher levels of sports, so I was always playing with older teams because it was better for my skill set as well as competition. So the majority of my friends are older, by I would say an average of 3 years.
Okay.
I do see a switch in the men that they are now than the younger men that they were, but even at that time they all fell in love.
Okay.
Hardcore. And when I say alpha, like I'm not talking about the bravado with the in-your-face, I'm tougher than everybody alpha.
That's not alpha, just so you know, it's not.
Right, I'm talking about they all are leaders within the fields where they work or the environments they spend their time. Everyone can be a leader at different times within our group of friends. And they all have big personalities.
Right.
But they were all in love, head over heels. And some of them were hurt and just went into the shells. Others did the hurting and ended up hurting themselves. But now at this different age, I think that they're just more secure in who they are as men and the role that they can play in their family lives. A lot of them have children or are co-parenting. And I see a lot of them just wanting that bond. All of us in conversation have always wanted that bond.
Okay.
I grew up, like, I was it was so funny, I tell the story, a lot of people don't believe me, but I was 10 years old literally imagining what my wedding would look like. And when I was a young kid, and I think it was because of all my sisters, I used to like hang out, you know, in school there'd be the group of girls and the group of guys. I was always with the group of girls unless it was sports time.
Right.
I just found that energy to be way much better, like way more beneficial to me. I love the energy of being around women.
Right.
But the reality is that a lot of these guys also, including myself included, we were raised in the old, I would say, moniker of what the identity of a man should be.
Right.
Provide, fight, kill, feed. That's evolved. It's changed. I'm studying Dr. Miles Monroe, and he has a lot of teachings about the changes of society and its implications on men. And the reality is that the teaching that we have as young men doesn't match what the man's role is in today's society. So a lot of the teaching has to change, and a lot of the literature, education, understanding that, and the men that we're following as young men, or that we're letting our young men see and follow, it needs to be in line with that role. It's changed. Evolution has happened within society roles.
Yep.
Women are earning. Women don't need you to be the sole provider and to just come home and eat and sleep and have sex and go back to work the next day. That is no longer a relationship. And so men are struggling with finding who they are within the evolution of society. Where do we stand? Where do we see ourselves being strong? How much impact should we have? How much of the decision making should we have in the home? All these things have changed, and men really don't know what to do.
Yep.
And so what do? We revert to our younger selves, which is bang on the head and beat on our chest and get physical and loud, when really that's not what's needed at all times. Funny enough, also the majority of women are attracted to that rather than the new age man from the onset of meeting. What I mean by that is when we're loud and we're physical and we're women tend to gravitate towards us more than the soft and sensual or sensitive and just really compassionate, nice guy. So we also get confused wondering which we should be, because when we were nice, we got hurt, but when we were mean, we got action. Ask around.
Okay, so
the bad boys do win at times. Then they break our heart, and then a lot of women say, I no longer want a bad guy. They want a nice guy. But then there's that bad guy. You know the bad guy I'm talking about. Smooth, a little rough around the edges, has a really deep voice and talks. What's up, man? What's good? The reality is that things change. So to find a good blend is what I challenge all men. If you're a man and you're watching this, I challenge you to find a good blend and to never, really just use a woman as an object, because the black woman is not an object. You know what I mean? She is the source of life and energy. Amen. And so recognize women as being a resource, not one that should be used, but one that should be I would say, invested into.
Yeah, and valued.
Right, because the energy you guys give out to us will continue to carry us forward. So it's a difficult thing being a man. It's more difficult being a woman. But as a man, I can tell you that we really don't know what to do sometimes, because what we want to do doesn't necessarily get us the reaction and the attention
that you want.
100%.
Okay, we are going to break shortly, but when we do come back, we have one more 10-minute segment, right? Okay, so when we do come back, Aaron had Matt just perfectly blended in the next topic that I wanted to touch on, which was exactly that, toxic masculinity, the rise of feminism, the fact that people think feminism is something that it's not. So we'll be back shortly and we'll touch on that topic.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
And we are back. So for our final segment, he makes me laugh so much. I'm trying to be serious here. For our final segment,
what matters most.
On what matters, we are going to touch on that topic. Now, it's a huge topic, and I will come back to it. But you know, this is something I'm seeing a lot of. I'm hearing a lot about feminism and toxic masculinity. It seems like a new buzzword, but it's not. And I had found actually a really great article that I will share the link to on my page on this post, if you know what I mean. And it's talking about what is the solution for toxic masculinity. And basically this gentleman who wrote this is saying more feminism. And what is toxic masculinity? Well, as Aaron was saying before the break, there is a traditional role or ideal of man. And because our society has evolved, that role has changed. Men are no longer the primary breadwinners. This happened after, I believe it was the Second World War, when the men went and the women started working in the factories. And when they came back, a lot of them either didn't want to stop working, or because of a different lifestyle now, couldn't stop working. So that changed a lot. Now you have women being educated at higher rates than men. There's more of an equalization. It's not equal, but it's we're getting there, where we're getting the higher paying jobs, the corporate jobs, even in some fields that we were never in before, trucking and construction and other industries, sportscasting. I remember when the first female sportscasters, reporters were going into the men's locker room, and it was a big deal. And now it's not even spoken of. It just is what it is. So the roles have changed a lot in terms of our education, our jobs, and even in our taking care of our children. And this is in North American society, because depending on where you're from, there are a lot of societies or cultures where men taking care of their children is the norm. The actual physical care. When I say take care, and oftentimes when you say men taking care of their children, you're talking about, giving them money. But I mean the day-to-day things. I do know in some African cultures, and if anybody knows which one it is, please write the name of the country. And I know that some of them, when they do separate, in the rare times they separate, the children go with the father. And that is the norm. Like, it's myself as a Canadian looks in like, oh my goodness, he got the kids, and she looked at me like, well, where else would they go? They're his kids. So they just look at it in a very different way. That all being said, what's happening is you have a group of men, or different groups of men, who have become very angry and feel that things need to go back to the way that they were. And a few months ago, we had a horrible incident in Toronto, really beyond tragic, where this man who's labeled himself an incel, involuntarily celibate, killed 10 people and injured 16, under the idea that he would kill all the Chads and Stacys, which are the people who have sex, the alpha males and the beautiful women. And they feel that they are entitled to have their own. Some other groups, there's a professor in Toronto, and while Aaron's talking, I'll shuffle through papers and try to find his name. There's a professor in Toronto that believes that we need to have enforced celibacy, where women are distributed to men on an equal basis so that all men can have a mate, and he believes that would reduce the violence that we're seeing in our society. Now, I know that in certain countries in China, not certain countries, in certain villages in China, they've had incidences where, as men are valued more than the women, you have whole villages where it's 98% male. I don't know how you could be so short-sighted to not realize that if you keep getting rid of all the little girls, these valued boys will have no one to marry. And I had read that in some of these villages, what they do is, because there's so many men with so much energy and nothing to do with it, they just have war. And it's disturbing to me as a woman to know that there are groups of organized men in the world that feel that their rights to women have been challenged, their right to have a woman has been challenged, and are, trying to organize other things that, like what has happened in Toronto. But on a day-to-day basis, what I do see is that there are a lot of men that are lost. And we have a lot of female empowerment, which is amazing and good and so needed. But I think something that's missing desperately is men empowerment. I've started a lot of dialogues on Facebook where I'm trying to understand more how men think. And one of the questions I had posed was, do you talk to your friends about your problems? And overwhelmingly, the answer was no. So my question and my concern is, if many of you don't seem to know how to speak to women, you approach us in ways that we constantly tell you we don't like, and then you say, well, no, there's something wrong with you. You're just not catching my vibe. No, I'm not. And you don't talk to your male counterparts. Many men are raised that there are many men that don't have dads, and I won't perpetrate the lie that, everybody doesn't have a dad at home, because that's not true. But then oftentimes the fathers are closed off too, and they're earning and bringing it home, and then they go to sleep. So who do they talk to about their feelings and their behavior and what's right and what's wrong? And they say that the incidents of male suicide are going up because they don't feel valued. The thing that they were raised to do, which is provide, is no longer needed. So if you don't need me to pay the bills, then what do you need me for? Well, I want you to talk to me, but I don't know how to talk to you. I don't know what to do. And if I talk to you, doesn't that make me like not a man? So I think there's a lot of confusion in the roles. I think there's a lot of pain that's not being addressed. And there needs to be a shift in how we raise our boys from small, how they are allowed to express themselves, and how they're encouraged, because many of the women that are on the receiving end of this male shortage and these men that we don't understand and often just don't even like, we will then raise our sons in ways that will only create another male like that. Don't cry. Man up. It just continues this circle. So I would like Aaron's feedback on that, on what he's seeing, because that is one of the topics that I will touch on throughout episodes. It won't be one after the other, but me trying to understand men better, because a lot of people just lump, oh, men are dumb, they don't know this. I don't believe that.
We're pretty dumb.
They can be, just like women can be.
And we will be.
And they will be if you let them. But I think there's more to it. And when I say to a man, you know what? Oh, hi, beautiful, hi, beautiful, hi, beautiful. And I just get to the point where my face is blank. What do you want me to say? Say hello. Hello will work. It's fine. Like, I actually appreciate it more. Say hello to me. Talk to me a bit. And then when you say, after I've said a couple of like so smart things, you're beautiful, then I feel that it's a whole thing where you've looked at me physically. Okay, I'm attractive to your eye, but what is my spirit? I'm actually very tempted the next time a guy comes up to me all lewd and he's like, yo, you look good. I'm gonna tell him I'm a horrible human being, and just see what happens from there.
You'd
but
be like, me too.
Me too. You're like, yeah, let's get together. But so this, I feel for our men, and some women are like, oh, I don't feel sorry for them. They've caused this and this. They're the ones at one end that are perpetrating it, and then there's some that are new that are coming into it, and this is not what they want to be in. We have to change the dialogue. We have to change and not just the upbringing, because there's too many men that already exist that are grown. So what do we do? How does this work? Aaron, what do you think? What do we do?
Wow. There's different levels.
Okay.
So you said something that's really important, because oftentimes when I have this conversation, I hear about the upbringing. But like you said, there are too many that are already or think they are grown. But let's touch on the upbringing for a second, because we can get it out the way. A lot of boys, aren't being taught to be men by their fathers, or if they have one. If they don't have one, by the mothers. You were right in saying that a lot of them are raised to be exactly like the men that left the household or never stepped into it in the first place. At the same time, a lot of women aren't growing up seeing what it takes to be in a successful relationship. Marriage, as I'm told so often by the matriarch in my family, is work. It is rewarding work, but it is work, and there are ups and very big downs. But it is work, and a lot of people think that happily ever after exists when you say I do, which is
don't teach your kids that Disney nonsense. Don't do it.
So on both ends, whether you are in a relationship, co-parenting, a single parent, either men or female, understand that if you're a man, you can't raise your daughters to be women the way a woman could. And so that she needs a positive female role model, and vice versa. If you're a woman raising boys, he needs a positive role model outside of you. You can't teach him how to be a man, but you can show him how to treat a woman and how a woman should present herself to other men. So if you're bringing a lot of people in the house all the time, or you're just letting yourself be available, then who is he going to seek? Because he sees that from his mother. Okay, so let's get away from that. Okay, that's a whole subject on itself.
A whole show all by itself.
We as men don't necessarily talk to our friends about our problems, because we know our friends and we know the problems they face and how they would handle them, and we don't necessarily want their advice, but we are also taught to just deal with it. So
how?
Me, I say it all the time. people say, oh, don't be emotional, don't be sensitive. I say, no, I'm sensitive. Like, I cry all the time at movies and stuff and TV shows and stuff. Almost, keep the language PG. But I cry. I just had this conversation the other day. Bambi. I cried when Bambi's mom got shot. Man on Fire, when Creasy Bear sacrificed himself for the little girl. Oh, Waterworks. John Q. Denzel, I gotta talk to Denzel because he makes me cry too much. But when John Q said that his son isn't gonna outlive him and that he won't outlive his son, Waterworks. But I've accepted that. I'm also a big guy. When people they want to make fun of me too much, I'll just beat them up. But it was taught. Like, I was taught growing up not to be emotional, not to be sensitive, not to cry. My uncles and not my father actually. We never really had those talks. But he was old school. It's just like, well, man, you're gonna be a man. And I was like, okay, well, what's that? But we don't know that. So what do? You just start copying the people who you see are men. So my uncles and my father. And I have to give credit to my mom. She always just laid the law. And my dad was always loving the kids and stuff like that. He was never the best husband. Well, he's furthest from that. And you know what I mean? But he always tried. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that finding myself is a journey that's ongoing. And as a man, that I realize that being sensitive or being emotional or intuitive with my feelings actually makes me a better candidate. I realize that a lot of guys still need to understand that, but the reality is that we don't have an education or upbringing or a system that shows us, one, what the new age man is, and what that means, not only in terms of what is different, but opportunities that are present because of it. But how to really be okay with yourself in the journey. And so we need to start getting to the ones who've already gone through the journey and opening the door to say, hey, listen, we can still be like this, but we do have to focus on the next wave as well. So it's a battle because we have all these boys coming who are looking up to us as men. One of the best things that I've become a part of, I wouldn't say weekly, is a men's night, men's and youth night for basketball that we do at Malvern Methodist. That's led by a gentleman named Rao who lost his son to some of the senseless violence that's in the city, and he still takes time to mentor others, and he has another son and daughter as well. But he lost one of his twin boys, just gunned down, and he's still there for youth and going there, just praying after basketball and just joking with them and talking with the younger men and showing them that you could be tough and make jokes and still pray and be there for each other and with good energy and spiritually, because those were some of the things that really impacted me on a great way. My stepfather took me to men's night when I was younger. I went to a lot of other youth nights and men's night stuff here and there, and my mom always made sure I was spending time with my father at any given opportunity, as well as my uncles, and I got to see that. But a lot of people don't get that experience. So really, men have to seek out relationships with other men, and not just ones that are showing the bravado and stuff like that, but successful people. We have to have relationships with men and be okay with being a man amongst other men and seeing that we can have a brotherhood and talk to each other about feelings and emotions. There's been moments where my best friend was crying and we gave each other a real hug. Like, in a real hug, we might have gripped it up and all right, and then after walked away and had a beer and grunted it for no reason. But we were able in that moment to express ourselves and just be there for one another. And so many guys are scared of that. But the men that I'm like that with, to this day, I would die for, and I feel the same for me, and not in any senseless capacity, but trying to save their life. We're trying to be there for them and supporting them, and I'll be there for them when we're old. And I know I have friendships lined up till I'm in my late 80s and late stages of life, when so many people don't have that. So I feel lucky.
A lot of lonely people.
But it's because we talk. Right? And we talk about silly things and things that are non-consequential, things that are not serious, but when it comes to serious subjects, we have that. And they're all there for their kids, and I'm lucky in that sense. But as a man, if you don't have that kind of energy around you, you need to make new friends. And as a woman, if you don't see that for your man, you should encourage him to seek it. And if you have boy children, push them in that direction. Always be present, however. I'll say this about women with boy children. You can't just hand your boys to men, because there are men out there that are taking advantage of these boys or pushing them in the wrong direction. So you always have to be present. You always have to be very attentive to what's being said and what you're exposing your kids to, especially your young boys, because we're so impressionable. right? Little boys see me, oh, you're 6'5" and play basketball and have a beard. I want to be exactly like you. Literally, I've been told that. You don't know me. You shouldn't be like me. You should be aimed to be better.
Yeah.
But these guys are vulnerable. These little guys are vulnerable. The young men, teenagers, 14, 15, vulnerable.
I know.
19, 20, vulnerable.
Yeah.
So you have to be attentive, but you have to push them into it. So you have to seek out places, safe environments where they can just be around men, right? You got to be there, got to hear, got to watch until you feel in your spirit that they're safe. But these relationships have to be cultivated and fostered and grown. So if you find as a man that you don't have that type of connection when it comes to your relationship with another woman or your male friends, you have to start seeking and build it out, reading, talking, communicating. It's so important.
Join groups, your interests, whether it's basketball or art or whatever it is, seek out those groups and you can make yourself friends. And, Aaron said something that I agree with so much is that, you know what, you can run a race with one leg. You can. It's very possible. It's just not ideal. And I gave up that whole, I'm your mom and dad. I'm just your mom. Yeah. I can tell you what women like. I can show you what we appreciate. I cannot show you how to be a man because I'm not a man. I have no idea how that's done. So I think that understanding your role and what it is that you're supposed to do is another really important thing, and admitting where you can't, what you cannot do. So it's not impossible, and I also agree with you 100% in that exposure to affection and that exposure to being able to express how you feel without being told it's not manly, being told don't do that, don't cry. All my kids, I have a girl and 2 boys, and there's all the same rules. If you are hurt physically or emotionally, you can cry. Just don't whine about things. No whining. Girl child too. I have my boys the other day, one of my sons hugged the other one, and one said something that wasn't nice, and I spoke to him and I said, one of the things that I wish the most is that you guys remain close. And that expression, that touch, that hug is a part of the closeness. I had read something that was very interesting, and one man, he theorizes that one of the reasons that men are so angry and are so violent is that our society is set up that once a man has an adult man has a woman, that is the only human he's supposed to touch. He's not to touch other males, like, Russian men are very affectionate, Polish men, they hug.
In Indian cultures, they're walking, holding pinkies.
African cultures, I remember I was in Cameroon and I saw my host and his brother walking away holding hands. And it really was what it was. When they sat on the couch, their legs were touching. Right. And that, in our culture where we tell our boys, like every time our boys interact, they're fighting. And then when, we tell little girls, oh, if a guy pulls your hair or he pushes you or hurts you, he likes you. That's dangerous. Right. And then as they get older, they're not to touch their boys. And, unless you have many women, you just have this one woman that you're touching. So I think I know that for me, the hand on the shoulder, all those little physical interactions, they do so much for my spirit. And I can't imagine a man who is also a human being that they're not lacking that when they don't receive that. So 100%. I think that whole culture around be a man, what does it mean to be a man? We need more specific instructions on what that is. And any women out there with your young boys, please be conscious. Don't just do things out of reflex. Think about why you're doing what you're doing. Like when your son looks at butterflies and says, oh, I like butterflies, and he's 3 or 4 years old, why do you shut him down? What is the fear? He likes butterflies.
No, I used to love butterflies.
Well, this is it. So it is, and he's 6'5" with big deep voice. But
I love the butterflies.
You love the butterflies.
I love the butterflies and cocoons,
and cocoons.
The insulation,
but the science behind it. So let's, men. I'm hoping to see a lot more male workshops. A lot more connection, and like I said, if you have to do it under the guise of basketball or football or whatever it is, and I think those team sports is also such a huge component of men having links to other men.
Yeah, and that was big because as an athlete, you're always on a mission with other men, and there's a range of emotions. We would fight, but we would all come together to work towards a common goal, right?
Yeah.
And so that was key. But a lot of the things I find when it comes down to it, especially with a lot of these guys that hate on feminism and things of that nature, is that they're scared because they don't know where to go if not to be on the pedestal that was set for men a long time ago by men. And so they're scared. And what do people do when they're scared except for lash out? And so men have to start to become more confident in who they are and what they can still be and accomplish, even if not on that false pedestal that was set above, not by our culture. I know that, whatever bloodline I come from in Africa, because as you know, it was taken from us, right? Is that I came from one where women were the matriarchs in that tribe. I mean, it just, the respect for the black woman that men need to have, black men, all men should have, but we need to have for our women, is key. And understanding who we are as a man and being secure in that will allow you to have that affection, reverence, respect, and admiration that you should have for black women. But that can't happen until men start looking at themselves and becoming comfortable with who they are.
I agree 100%. And, you just touched on something, and I think that, I saw something that said, black men also need a healing circle. And I responded, I said, all men need it. But there are things that are so many issues that are very specific to our community.
100%.
And when I was in Montreal, I used to say, I have 3 strikes against me. I'm a woman, I'm black, and I'm English. I don't need any more, I'm out. But what I'm realizing is that, being a woman, it can be hard. I wouldn't trade it, though. I love being a woman. But I think that black males are the only group of males that work at a disadvantage to their female counterparts. Being a man in every other culture is an advantage, where I feel for black males, it is not. It is far more dangerous, far more dangerous. And I feel that they don't walk through the world feeling necessarily as safe as I do. As a woman, this is something that I recently started thinking about, so I haven't fully developed the thought, but this is, and please, again, this show is really based on the audience. I need your feedback. I need your topics. I need your concerns.
Sure you
I really need to know what matters to you, because that's what I want to cover. I was given a platform, but now I want to give it back to you so that we can find out what again, it's just such a good name, what matters to you. And that's one of the things that really does matter, because they're so endangered. It's so dangerous. I have a 16-year-old boy that I moved to this city almost 2 years ago, and he doesn't want to go outside. And it breaks my heart. I'm supposed to be screaming at him to come back inside. I'm supposed to be ringing down his phone saying, why aren't you home? And instead, I can't get him out. He says, it's too dangerous. It's just too dangerous here.
I think he just wants to play video games. But
but
no,
then
I
we're listening from the Rip Fest, and I'm a Canadian girl, so I thought it was fireworks. Come to find out the next day that it was gunshots.
Yeah.
And and he looks at me, he's like, see, and you tried to make me go. And what do I say except, so I guess you're going back to EB Games?
Yeah.
So we really do have to find a safe space for men, amongst men, because I don't feel that they just need women. They don't need women to tell them how to be men, because we don't know how.
Right.
Where we come in, where I come in, the platform that I'm using, is I want to be able to share with men what women actually like. A lot of men, they come in, hi beautiful, hi gorgeous, hi sexy, and they say that because they truly believe that's what you want to hear. And it's not. You should listen to me.
And I'll add to that a male perspective, that a lot of women don't like hearing those things. However, that if it had not worked for him in the past, he wouldn't do it again.
Thank you.
And a lot of the times, I've gone the soft route. Especially when I have feelings right from the bat. I'll turn super gentleman, and it's funny, I got friend zoned. Not every single time, but a vast majority.
I have to talk about that.
It happens. Like, you're so soft, you're so nice because you genuinely care. And it just backfires and blows up in your face because it seemed like you wanted her too much. And this has happened so many times. It's unfortunate, and perhaps that person was simply not meant for me. But the reality is that we as men, we do things that work. So if out of 10 times I approach a beautiful woman who just so happens to host a new show called What Matters, and I say to her, Wagwan, yo, sweetie, why you say? And it works. The next time I approach a woman, I'm going to use the same approach, especially if I'm attracted to the same type of women, which I am, right? I like my women like I like my coffee. Black, no extra sugar, right? So that being said, if it works 7 out of 10 times, you can't argue with percentages. So 7, I'm going to approach the next 10 times, and maybe it'll change a little bit because things work differently, but if it works. So stop responding to it. I mean, I wish I could just flip a switch and women would do that, because I think that would also benefit men's realization that they don't have to act like that. But if you don't like it, just stop. Because the more it doesn't work, the less guys will do it. If being the utmost of gentlemen resulted in a higher success rate in getting the opportunity to spend time with the woman of your desires, men across the board would be the utmost of gentlemen. But it goes back to that age-old saying, right? Nice guys finish last. Now, I don't think that is true. I think that nice guys, generally speaking, don't win the first battle. Because I won't say it's a race. 100%. I think that they'll end up eventually getting the right woman to complement them, and that they, because of their nature, if they still survive and be nice and don't lose their character, that's a happily ever after situation potentially, as long as those two individuals treat the relationship with the respect that it deserves. But a lot of times we don't want to wait that. And we don't know if it's going to end up that way, right? We don't know that we can eventually win the war because we just lost a battle. And we really want to win some battles. So now you start emulating what has worked for other people. So I think that men need to be confident and comfortable with being told no or not winning the battle immediately. But on the flip side, we take a lot of our direction from what women are receptive to. Which is also why I don't approach women saying, yo, sweet thing, yo.
You got a leak? You okay?
Yo, red dress. Why I say?
Right? Pick a piece of clothing as your descriptor. Yo, blue jeans. Come here. I'm sorry.
Long walk. I don't do that anymore.
I don't know what to
I might do it every now and then. No, I won't do it. I don't do it. If I do it in a way that genuinely shows that I'm not that
joking,
kind of person.
Right? That you're
joke.
truly joking.
But
no, I agree with you.
Like
I've said that before. I'm like, the reason he's doing this is he got through with someone.
Somebody.
So he was like, hey, this must work. And it is the easiest approach.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
It is.
Like to just throw out something, and if the person's receptive to it, you go with it. But ladies, speaking to you, is that you have to understand that the level they come in at, please expect more of it.
Right.
So if you answer to, yeah, look good, do not turn around later on and say, he wasn't very, gentlemanly. What did you expect? So you have to meet people where they are, and and sometimes, again, I believe that men, they try, right? It's a try thing, and I understand setting yourself up for rejection all the time. It must get really tiring. But I've had guys, they've approached me wrong, and I just looked at them, and they're like, "I'm sorry, I meant no offense." I'm like, and just from that little bit of politeness where they turned it around, I'm able to explain to them that all you had to do was say hi to me.
It's actually a strategy. You just got to be careful for that one. You come in rude. If she accepts it works. If she gets defensive, you show your inner character, but you've disarmed her through Jedi mind tricks. So be careful with that one. That's actually...
Our producer's over there just dying.
It works.
Nonsense, right? It does not work.
It works.
No.
It works.
Now we're arguing.
You're right. You know what? It doesn't work. It just worked. It just worked.
You see? It just worked. But for quality people, quality behavior usually
have
works.
A standard. Women, have a standard. If he doesn't reach it or attempt to, he wasn't meant for you, deserving, and he really wasn't what you were looking for, nor was he interested. Because if you do give him an opportunity to meet said standard, if he fails from the first attempt, and he attempts to meet it, he's putting in effort. Women have to recognize that as well. Not every man is equipped to be what it is that you expect. So you should have your standards across the board, but you need to have baselines, and you need to have, wow, this is 100%. Right? You shouldn't be all the way up there because nobody's perfect. But so many women have perfect standards as well as guys, right? But go on, you go. Your butt first.
The thing is do not have standards that you do not meet. You cannot ask someone to be something you are not. Please do not sit at home with your unemployed self and Toronto credit's really big. I've had guys come at me right away. My car's paid, my this, my that. I'm like, wow, okay, I didn't want to know all of that, but okay. People who are, uneducated and, have 6 kids and don't own a car, and they're like, he needs to have a degree and he got to have a car and he can't have no kids. And it's like, but why are you looking for the complete opposite of yourself?
Yeah.
So
a person won't fix you.
Exactly. So if you must have standards, but at the same time, make sure that you meet said standards, right? I will never ask from someone what I'm not willing to give.
I also think people make the wrong things their standards. Is this a nice person? Do they care about the same things I care about? Are they spiritually aligned with my spiritual beliefs? Do they believe, I believe in God. And I'm sorry, I could not be in a relationship with somebody who does not believe in God.
I agree.
And it's as simple as that. We may not be on the same level, you know what I mean? And nor do I think that I'm, at the top. I'm just getting back into a relationship with God to the extent that, makes my family happy. Well, half of my family. The other half, it's backing up. But that being said, I know what I want in a woman from when it comes to principles, beliefs, a sense of identity and what roles she wants me to play and she herself wants to play and rearing of children one day, right? Exactly. Those are my standards. You know what I mean? Not other things. You don't have to have a booty that's a certain amount of inches. You don't have to be shaped like an Instagram model or be making X amount or live in this type of area. Those aren't the things that drive me, right? Is our personalities in tune? Can we laugh together? Can we spend time and literally not count the minutes? In fact, lose time because we're together.
Right.
These are the things that people need to be setting their standards for on both sides. But because this society we live in, the men are putting all of their standards in the images, and women, I believe, I'm not certain, are putting a lot of their standards in accomplishments. And the reality is that people don't meet those standards.
Right.
They can get to those places, but the likelihood of finding somebody that is emotionally available, in tune with you spiritually, from your sense of humor, personality, what you're interested in, and has achieved all of the goals that you would like your future partner to have, the likelihood of that happening is slim to none.
Minimal. Very,
right?
very
So it's okay to meet people in the journey, right? Which is something that I'm struggling with because I want to be a certain man one day, and I've, even through conversation, realized I need to be accepting
of where you are right now.
Of where I am, and find somebody that's okay with where I am in my journey and can help, I wouldn't say get me there, but be good energy. So that's super important. So your standards are important. What kind of standards?
Exactly. Well, I honestly, I could be here for a lot longer. I love speaking with Aaron, and that is why he
we'll probably talk for 2 more hours.
Yeah, well, we got to get home, so we will be. But everyone, I'm so grateful. This has been a wonderful, wonderful time. Aaron, thank you for being my first guest. He will be back. He will definitely be back, and I thank you. For everybody that tuned in, thank you so much. All your messages, all your likes, all your reposts. Thank you for reposting my post. I appreciate that so much. I will be back next week at 6 o'clock, actually at 6 o'clock, here on TCN. Again, thank you, Trish. Thank you, Grant. And thank you to the audience because, guys, this is your show. I'm the facilitator. That's what I'm going to do. Send me your show ideas. Send me your guest ideas. And I will see you again next week. I thank you so much.
She's going to be amazing. And, you're going to be amazing.
I'm going to be amazing. I am currently amazing.
Kuya. Watch it. Shabad.
Quite. So have a great night. Yeah, we're night now, and I will see you again next week.